put your belongings in the overhead lockers or under your seat and fasten your seatbelt. Thank you.
Hello, Airbus Cockpit Coach here. You're joining me with a preview version of the new Aerosoft Airbus A340-600 PRO, and today I'm going to be looking at my favourite feature with this aircraft, and that's its electronic flight bag. I believe it's a game changer for the flight sim community. Let's jump in and take a closer look. The cockpit of this aircraft really is great, and simmers are going to have a lot of fun inside this aircraft on their long haul ops. But this is my favourite feature, and for those of you familiar with ToLiss products, you'll notice this is similar but a little bit more advanced in terms of the options available. In other ToLiss models, you would have noticed we had one line of options at the top. In this one, we've got some additional options available, and it's been split into two rows. So the bottom row is basically sort of sim control, and the top row is anything you'd normally expect to have on the real-world flight deck, apart from the credits, of course. Now, what's new here is the Navigraph functionality, bringing that into the sim, which is really useful. So the ability to dial in any airport. So I'll put Echo Golf Lima Lima. Today we are at London Heathrow. Basic information here, and we can pull up any chart from our Navigraph subscription. So when you jump in for the first time, you get the familiar login for Navigraph, can be a QR code, and it links through very quick and simple if you've got that subscription available to you. That's great. It also links directly with Simbrief, so as soon as you pump your Simbrief ID in here, we can download our flight plan, and that also links through to the aircraft MCDU. Again, really useful, and you may be using a slightly older AirAC, so you can select those to be ignored, for example. So a bit of optionality around that. Also got options here for displaying the active flight plan and secondary flight plan, where these can be pulled in through the MCDU. Weight and balance, obviously very, very important on any aircraft. Again, we've got the detail here we need, and we can quickly see where we are within our centre of gravity envelope. Takeoff performance, again, really detailed. Once you put your departure airport into the MCDU, it will populate here. I haven't done that yet because we're in the very early stages of setup. But if I put in Heathrow, for example, we've got all the runway options straight away available. We can sync it here by pressing reset to the current weather. Compute our performance information. Really useful, really detailed. All the stop margin available, accelerate, stop distances, all the kind of stuff we'd use in real-world flight operations. Similar for landing performance. Again, if you put your arrival destination into the MCDU and the runway, it will pull that straight in for you, and you can sync the weather with the reset key there. But again, we've got METAR as well, also available here, which is useful to us. We've got the winds, and we've got the landing distance required, and the margin available to us. Also got engine out, go around gradient, really important as well. So we've got an interactive checklist here. We can tick items off or undo them. If we accidentally click something we need to go back on, work our way through. This is obviously very useful for getting familiar with a particular aircraft type. Now remember, checklists aren't actions in themselves. Normally we complete the actions for the checklist in flows. Checklists are cross-checking what we've done with the aircraft. This is obviously a great tool in helping us understand the actions taken for this particular aircraft type. Now this is where it starts getting particularly exciting for me, and that's the startup situations page. Particularly appreciate this as I operate as a type rating instructor in the real world, and on the A320 series. This is a fantastic training tool. So it comes with some available situations already loaded in, but we can at any point set up a situation. We can put our aircraft onto an approach, save that, and we can go back and back and back and keep repeating that situation and use it as a really useful training aid. And we can alter that situation as well. So we can put in a crosswind, we can put in low visibility, whatever you want, and in a particular situation you can save those at any airport around the world and just jump to them. It is really useful, and you see I've got a few in here already. So I've been doing a bit of work on Heathrow 27 left, 9 left, for example. We did on the live stream the other day. So again, it has some engine failures at V1 and wind shear events as well, so we used to go and practice. So this for me is fantastic. We can obviously overwrite files as well if we want to sort of modify them a little bit, but the ability just to to jump in the sim, pick the scenario you want to practice. It is fantastic. Now, obviously, this aircraft is a long-haul aircraft. It's going to be used on some pretty long simming sessions. There's always the dreaded crash to desktop lurking. Now, I've never experienced that with this aircraft. It has been highly stable, and particularly, with using the recording tool and this load situation, this is the sort of moment I'd expect things to go a little bit wrong in the sim, putting under a lot of stress, loading things in suddenly. This copes with it extremely well, so I haven't had any crashes using any of the tools in this EFB. Its performance is really good, but obviously, it's not just the aircraft. Things can go wrong with your PC. It can be a power failure. You could be 5 hours into a flight and the worst happens. But this has an autosave function, operates the same as the other situations we mentioned. We can save. It's got an interval here. We can save at the bottom, so it's currently set to 5 minutes, and we can just load back into that, continue the flight as if maximum 5-minute delay and a bit of loading time, but other than that, you're back on your way again, which is just great. We've also got the ability to set aircraft states over here, something we've seen before in other EFBs and previous ToLiss EFBs. Again, very useful for quick setup. So here we've got aircraft control and sim control. Again, some really useful features here as well. The ability to sync with baro settings, simplified terrain on the navigation display, or G-loaded camera. But that's turned off at the moment, so I'm using chase plane for my views. Freeze all, or just freeze the aircraft motion and fuel. And you can set what Microsoft Pause acts as well. So freeze motion or freeze all. Do auto pause on warnings and cautions, or warnings, cautions, and top of descent. So that's a little bit extended to what I've seen in other EFBs as well. Very useful. We can increase the sim rate, so the standard normal sim rate is 1. We can increase it to a maximum of 4 using this EFB. Because this aircraft has its own standalone flight model produced by ToLiss, where you have increased sim rate perhaps in the past using the Microsoft flight model, you'll find that in certain situations, some turns, things start to go a little bit wrong. The aircraft starts to miss things, gets a little bit off track, doesn't cope with it very well basically. When you increase the sim rates in this simulator, it follows that track. That's your flight plan as if it's on rails. It sticks to it really well. The sim rate increase works really well. We've also got some visual settings adjustment. It does have really good wing flex. Obviously, these wings do flex a fair bit, and we can adjust the strength of that flex, and also the effect of bumping around with the gear on the ground, and that effect on the wings there. Also, the background glow of our screens. So we've got different weight variants of this aircraft. We've got the regular and high gross weight. You can select our Imperial units as well. Auto nav and go around, one to consider. And also we can adjust performance of the aircraft by aircraft age and engine age. So whether the aircraft is new or getting a bit older as well. Which is a really nice feature. In terms of ground services, again, we've got 2 external powers for this aircraft. That's modelled high pressure, low pressure air shocks. We've also got a built-in pushback function, which is nice to have. We can also do some maintenance, open the engine cowlings and put on the engine covers. We've got a quick de-icing tool here as well, over on the right side. So if you were perhaps getting out towards takeoff, you notice your aircraft needed some de-icing, quick de-ice, the aircraft will be de-iced and with a 30 minutes hold over time. That will allow you to continue your flight safely. And here we've got all the controls for the doors. We've got close, auto and open for all those options. Fault scenarios, we've got the ability to throw in random faults against also a time factor. We've got a whole optionality here of, different engines, different issues. There's over 300 fault scenarios you can throw into this aircraft. So we will cover some of these in future videos, run through some of these scenarios. So plenty of functionality there to play with. That will keep you busy. But again, great for learning and understanding the aircraft. Sounds and replay, obviously really important. Everyone likes good sounds. Obviously we're a long way from the engines in this aircraft, so it's a bit quieter engine-wise than other aircraft you may have flown. But nonetheless, it has great sounds which match the real thing. It does have 3D sound fading, so that's going to be turned off, but that simulates the distance from the source of the sound, so it fades as we get further away from the flaps or the engines, for example. The replay tool really is great. So you see we've been had the aircraft on already for 36 minutes. We can go back anytime, press replay mode here, slide that slider back, and it will take you back to any point since your last loading of that aircraft. It's stable, it's never crashed. That's amazed me, because in the past I've had problems with similar tools, not in an EFB, but standalone tools, and that's caused issues. It's really solid performance, and it's great just to be able to land, go back, check your landing, see what you did right or wrong, jump back into that safe situation again and practice again, for example, and try and learn from using the replay mode as well. So it's a good training tool. Here we got joystick actions. It's found my primary joystick, no problem. You have an option here for using joystick roll for nose wheel steering. You can have a second side stick for different controls as well. Tiller as well, that's assigned to the captain's side. Other to tiller in virtual reality, and brake pedals assigned, brake strength. Smart brake, so whenever you're moving, smart brake allows any brake control to basically act as a park brake. And we can also have braking on one pedal. Ability to operate thrust reversers by keyboard keys as well, those that don't have auto hardware. Smart thrust lever, idle lock, or you can have a fully manual config. And this is really useful as well, so really simple setup. You just move your thrust levers to the detent, forwards or backwards, match the position on your hardware. If it's at idle now, you just select throttle is at idle, move them to the next gate, throttle climb, throttle MCT, and now I push them forward to toga, and that's it. Throttle's calibrated, that's all I had to do. So quick and easy setup there. Down here in the actions, we've got the ability, again, if you're doing those long haul flights or you don't want to sit there for your 8-hour oceanic, you can jump to the next waypoint or a target FMS point. This becomes active once you're in the cruise. Again, fantastic, works really well, sim doesn't crash. And on the settings and accounts page, got obviously a build number here. This is the pre-release, remember. And our Simbrief ID, just throw that in and it will pick up all that information. Link that into your MCDUs as well. Down here at the bottom, we can put in our Hoppy CPDLC logon, so we can pick up METARs and airport information and CPDLC communication. We can select our source for any ATIS information as well. That's in Pilot Edge, IVAO. Then we've got startup behaviour, default bar unit, transition altitude default, and start with bright displays, whether you want that or not. So for me, this EFB has really everything I need, and I really appreciate it as a training tool, mostly because of my day job. The tools here, particularly the startup situations page, allows quick familiarity with the aircraft, which is important, and also peace of mind when you're on those long hauls as well. The ability, if there is that dreaded crash to desktop, to load back in. What amazes me with this is its performance. The aircraft goes back to where you want it, and it just works. And this is a really great product. I have reached out to ToLiss and asked, is this coming to some of the other ToLiss models? And they have mentioned that they will be looking at going back over some of those and implementing some of this functionality. So hopefully with time, we will see this roll out further and further. For me, this CFB makes this aircraft worthwhile on its own. I've really enjoyed using it, getting to grips with it, running some of those different scenarios there. And we will explore it in more detail, but on top of that, it is a very well-modelled aircraft. Although I don't operate the A340 in the real world, I'm on the A320 series. I recognise the aircraft logic. It works well and behaves as it should do. So I just wanted to share that with you, as I'm really impressed. But of course, if you have any questions on any of that we've gone through, please drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those. I'm looking forward to testing this more on future videos and live streams, so do subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with those. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.